Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at the most excruciatingly tough boss fights to appear in DLC.
Now, the vow will be honored, and my lord brother's soul will return.
But before we get into it, we publish new content all week long. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Chef Saltbaker, Cuphead, the delicious last course.
Good day for well done. It's on.
We were pleasantly surprised to learn that Cuphead was getting DLC 5 years after release, but that also meant preparing ourselves to be absolutely crushed by the most charming cartoon characters this side of Toontown. The delicious last course closes on a fight against Chef Saltbaker, who comes in 4 brutal phases. The first 2 litter the screen with hazards in need of dodging, from sugar cubes to lime slices to peppercorn to a good old-fashioned fireball. After breaking his body apart, you still have to deal with the mountain of salt that acts as his insides. The final phase, where his salty tornadoes close in while you're forced into platforming, can get pretty stressful. Detlef, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Blood and Wine.
Well then, try Witcher.
Before Geralt can settle down in his vineyard at the end of Blood and Wine, he has to contend with one seriously powerful vampire. Detlef is no ordinary bloodsucker, which will be made very clear as soon as the fight starts. In his first phase, he'll utilize his sharp claws and teleportation to consistently back you into a corner. But then comes his second phase. After transforming, Detlef uses distance provided by his wings, summons a horde of bats that can hit you alarmingly fast, and even makes the ground unsafe through shockwaves and traps. The whole encounter is a white-knuckle lesson in tension, and by far one of the toughest challenges The Witcher has ever faced. Tyr, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla.
I have one last weapon to show you. I think you'll enjoy it, if that's the word.
You'll fight the Norse God of War several times in this free expansion, with the 4th and final time obviously being the toughest. He begins with a katana, but can also swap between any of the weapons he's used in previous fights. That means there are a lot of different attacks to watch out for, most of which can easily catch you off guard if you aren't careful. He can also inflict elemental damage and summon some fairly annoying minions to swarm you at half health. That's not to mention the DLC's roguelike elements. If previous sections drained too much of Kratos' health or rage, this fight can start as an uphill battle. Fatalis, Monster Hunter World, Iceborne.
The cannons up above should be able to hit its head.
Fatalis is one of the most famous recurring enemies in the Monster Hunter series. When Capcom added it into 2018's World through the Iceborne DLC, they gave the almighty dragon an extra layer of difficulty. You'll need every ounce of tactical thinking you can muster, since it can't be stunned and must be knocked over with cannons or ballista. Its attacks are about as powerful as you'd expect, the most dangerous of which occurs at each phase turn. And if you don't destroy its horns before it's too late, Fatalis' final phase will make you regret it. It also has a monster health pool even while playing solo, which we would not recommend, but the biggest source of stress is the 30-minute time limit that accompanies the fight. Dark Eater Midir, Dark Souls 3, The Ringed City. When it comes to bosses in From Software DLC, or the studio's base game for that matter, choosing the hardest is of the pick your poison variety. Dark Eater Midir from the Ringed City DLC is certainly intimidating, with 4 giant wings and a crystallized body that gives him extremely high durability. Chipping away at his health pool can be disheartening. But there's also not many safe spaces in the arena. The dragon comes with a variety of ranged moves and a huge AoE attack that can crush your chances of victory. Of course, getting close to him is also extremely risky. Dark Eater Midir's bite attack can deal high critical damage that'll make you want to give up then and there. Leviathan, Final Fantasy XVI: The Rising Tide.
This isn't what I wanted! I only hope you can forgive me.
The second piece of DLC for Final Fantasy XVI reaches peak frustration when Clive is tasked with defeating the Leviathan. It consists of 4 phases. Thankfully, you restart the phase you're on once you die rather than the whole fight, but it's still a pretty big pain. The first 2 phases require extreme patience, as the only good way to deal damage is to dodge Leviathan's many attacks and look for an opening. But it will be very hard to remain calm during the third phase. Leviathan charges up for an attack that, if you don't stop by dealing enough damage, will put an end to poor Clive. The final phase is Leviathan at its most pissed off, making dodging its attacks a tall order. Absolute Radiance, Hollow Knight, Godmaster. The Radiance, the secret final boss of Hollow Knight, is a huge obstacle to overcome, but her souped-up version from the Godmaster DLC, that thing is unholy. She uses the same attacks as her first fight, it's just that they come much quicker, giving you only a minuscule window to react. She does get one new attack, a very problematic barrage of orbs in her 6th phase. Oh, did we forget to mention this fight has 6 phases? The encounter with Absolute Radiance is a true David versus Goliath type of battle, and it's all your little knight can do to not be completely shredded by the bombardment of different attacks. Orphan of Cost, Bloodborne: The Old Hunters. Sometimes we can still hear this thing's shrieks in our nightmares. The Orphan of Cost is the final boss in the Old Hunters DLC, itself packed with enemies that can easily tear you apart. He only has 2 phases, but it will definitely feel like more, so much time you'll spend facing him. There is no distance he cannot close, with his deadly lunges and heavy slams. That's not to mention a few projectile attacks that are easy to get caught off guard by. Oh, and that flurry attack? Say goodbye to your health bar, my friend, because that move is detrimental. The second phase just amplifies everything that's hard about the first, which is everything, while giving him new, annoying attacks. Yora, Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. Yora is a mysterious figure in the base game of Kingdom Hearts 3, pulling at your curiosity. But upon facing him in the Remind DLC, we can safely say we've seen enough of him. His fight only unlocks after beating a gauntlet of 13 other bosses, which may clue you in on how tough he is. He's much more durable and hard-hitting than any other boss in the game, and more so than many other Kingdom Hearts bosses for that matter. He's frighteningly fast too, and can teleport, able to hit you before you even see him coming. Yora is also a pain due to the variety of attacks he holds, and the fact that he can possibly steal your health and items.
What a pain.
Promised Consort Radon, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erd Tree. We're sorry to bring up recent trauma for a lot of you, but we can't not talk about this absolute monster of a boss. Radon makes reaching the end of Shadow of the Erd Tree such a challenge, it can make you feel like you're going insane. His recovery and ability to deliver heavy attacks in quick succession makes him a nightmare to face, and any one of those attacks is sure to drain all your health immediately. He can also swap between the Blood Flame and Gravity elements, making him excessively hard to read and react to. Radon's second phase is, of course, worse. He'll have increased speed and will keep all his infuriating attacks, earning some new ones and adding divine power to them to deal even more damage. It's truly something else. Which DLC boss gave you the hardest time?
Stop, Kratos. I yield.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great gaming videos every day.